Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jeva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhakti Naistike. So we're continuing from Canto 3, the status quo. Chapter 4, Vidura approaches Maitreya, text 30. We are continuing Krishna's thinking, text 30. Asmalokat uparate Mayi jnanam ashrayam Arhati uddhava evada Samprati atmavatam varaha. Translation. Now I shall leave the vision of this mundane world, and I see that Uddhava, the foremost of my devotees, is the only one who can be directly entrusted with knowledge about me. So here it's directly said by Krishna that he feels very confident with Uddhava. And he says he's the only one who can be directly entrusted with the knowledge about him. It's very confidential.
Start the conference. Can you use your phone?
So he was the best of all the devotees at that time, Prabhupada explains. And so the Lord has instructed him so that people can take advantage of his knowledge after the Lord disappears. So this is one of the reasons Prabhupada says Uddhava was advised to go to Badri Ashram, where he can represent Krishna to Nara Narayan Rishi. Text 31. Nodhavanu vapi manyuno Yadgunar Nadita Prabhu Ato Madvayunam Lokam Grahayan Iha Tistatu. Uddhava is not inferior to me in any way because he is never affected by the modes of material nature. Therefore, he may remain in this world in order to disseminate specific knowledge of the personality of God. So again, Krishna is saying his qualities, not inferior to me. That means he has very highly elevated transcendental qualities. In the Prabhupada, Prabhupada says, one has to be not affected by the material modes of nature. So then he says one has to transcend the mode of goodness also and be situated in unalloyed goodness, unaffected by any of the qualities of material nature. This stage of transcendental qualification is called Shuddha Sattva or Vasudeva. And in this stage, the signs of God can be realized. As the Lord is not affected by the modes of material nature, so a pure devotee of the Lord is also not affected by the modes of nature. This is also explained in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where one who follows, he also gets purified. I'm going to put here.
Nobody has joined.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, so when we do pure devotional service, we are doing it for the pleasure of the Lord. So it's not for us. So everything is perfect in that way. Even though we may still be in this material body, we may have all the material desires and so on, but because we are doing it for Krishna, there is no reaction. Okay? Yeah. And therefore, the person, because he's doing it for Krishna, he himself is not affected by the three modes of material nature. So then Prabhupada continues saying, that is the primary qualification for being one with the Lord. A person who is able to attain this transcendental qualification is called Jivan Mukta, or liberated, even though he is apparently in material conditions. This liberation is achieved by one who constantly engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-187, it is stated, Iharyasya Hare Dasya Karmana Manasagira Nikalaswapi Avastasu Jivan Mukta Sa Uchyate. Anyone who by his actions, mind and words lives only for the transcendental loving service of the Lord is certainly a liberated soul, even though he may appear to be in a condition of material existence. Uddhava was in such a transcendental position, and thus he was selected to be the factual representative of the Lord in his bodily absence from the vision of the world. So the Lord is preparing to leave, so he wants to make sure someone qualified is able to pass on his message. And so he picks someone who's very qualified. And that person is Uddhava. And again, Prabhupada re-emphasizes, such a devotee of the Lord is never affected by material strength, intelligence, or even renunciation. Such a devotee of the Lord can withstand all onslaughts of material nature, and therefore is known as Goswami. Only such Goswamis can penetrate the mysteries of the Lord's transcendental loving relationships. So he is not affected by any of his senses, even the mind. It's not going to affect him at all, because his focus is one-pointed, and it's for the pleasure of the Lord. So therefore he is not affected by anything material, cannot affect him. And that is one of the reasons why he is qualified. Prabhupada says, then you are Goswami. Goswami means you are always in control of your senses and you are always serving Krishna. That's a Goswami. Of course, nowadays they have family title. That's not what this is. It's meaning it's controller. The Swami can be king, master. So Goswami is controller of the senses.
I have a question. So in this translation, like for this, before Prabhupada writes down about the verse, even though he's apparently in material conditions.
Which verse?
This Jivan, or even the translation of this Iha Yasya Hare
Yeah.
Dasya. So he says he may appear to be in a condition of material existence.
Yeah.
So my question, I want to understand this better, is it that the person who is continuously engaged in devotional service but may not be fully pure
Yeah. That's
is
what
considered this person, or is it that it's just apparently in material conditions?
Well,
but
it's
a
both.
condition?
One who is always engaged 10% for the Lord and not for himself, even though he hasn't attained pure devotional position yet, because he's always doing it, he's as good as a pure devotee. So he is considered liberated at that. As long as he's focused in that situation, he's liberated. I mean, it's not like us. Sometimes we are engaged, sometimes we are not engaged. So as soon as we are thinking about ourselves rather than the Lord or his services, then we are under the material mode. Whereas one who's 10%, no problem. Every moment he is protected by Krishna. He may not be a pure devotee, but because he's focused on serving Krishna, he is as good as a pure devotee. So that's Jivan Mukta. As long as he's doing that, he is liberated. So whenever we do service, we are liberated. As soon as we go home, that's it. we fall down in that sense. because we are more concerned about our own welfare instead of thinking of the Lord's pleasures. Okay. Text 32. Evam Triloka Guruna
एवं त्रिलोकगुरुणा
Sandista Shabda Yonina
सन्दिष्टा शब्दयोनिना
Badarvyashramam Sadhya
वदर्याश्रमाशस्य
Harimi Je Samadhina.
हरिमिजे समाधिना.
Shukadeva Goswami informed the king that Uddhava, being thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of all Vedic knowledge and the spiritual master of the three worlds, reached the pilgrimage site of Badrikashrama and engaged himself there in trance to satisfy the Lord.
This is Vyasadeva. This verse is Vyasadeva. It says like Shukadeva Goswami informed.
Yeah,
Maybe it's Sudra.
no. It could be also Sutta Goswami. We do not know. Because it's a conversation within a conversation. So. In any case, it's repeated. Certain things are repeated exactly, so it's okay. So in the second purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, the Lord wanted Uddhava to fulfill his mission and disseminate knowledge which he had not spoken even in Bhagavad Gita. So it's interesting because he did speak a lot of confidential things in the Bhagavad Gita, but he gave more to Uddhava, which he didn't reveal at the battlefield. Of course, in the battlefield, time, place, circumstances.
So that was the internal pastime.
Yeah, and also, Uddhava is on a different level also. Yeah. So the Lord gave him something that he did not even reveal when he spoke the Bhagavad Gita. And then Prabhupada continues, persons who attach to the words of the Vedas may also know from this verse that the Lord is the source of all Vedic knowledge. One who is unable to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by going through the pages of the Vedas may take shelter of one of the Lord's devotees, such as Uddhava, in order to advance further in knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we do the same thing, right? We can't advance on our own. It's not possible because Prabhupada says, right, a blind man cannot lead another blind man. So we are like blind people, but we need someone who understands. Therefore, we take shelter of spiritual masters, who ultimately is taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada, who is at the lotus feet of Krishna. So that way we are safe. Otherwise, we may not understand the purport behind the Vedas. Even this, reading the Bhagavatam and trying to understand the purports that Prabhupada has written, it's easy for us. It's easy in the sense that it is available, right? If Prabhupada didn't translate all this thing and just left it at Sanskrit, then that's it, right? Our situation is, like we say, Ravam Tatsat. That's the end of our situation. So, therefore, this is a very important point to understand. We have to take shelter of the Lord's devotees. It's not possible on our own to make advancement. For ourselves to even know some, just like last week Maharaj came to talk on the Brahma Samhita. If Maharaj didn't speak on that, then we won't understand the Brahma Samhita. At least now we have a grasp of, okay, this is what it is. Yeah. So it is important to take shelter. That is also taking shelter, listening, going to courses like that. It's important.
So, Prabhuji, Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, having known this knowledge, there is nothing else to be known. But then here Prabhupada is saying that Krishna is giving him more knowledge to Uddhava here. So, how do we understand that?
When Krishna says, the knowledge I've given you, that's sufficient, means it's good enough.
Good enough to know Krishna.
Yeah, good enough to get out of that entanglement. Right. But here, what knowledge he gave to Uddhava is more detailed knowledge, more information of the same topic, which he hasn't revealed to Arjuna. Like certain things, the Chatusloki and all those things weren't spoken to Arjuna in that same. I mean, there is Chatusloki in the Bhagavad Gita, but it's slightly different. It's just slightly different, not as detailed as what he's speaking to Uddhava.
Because it was battlefield and shut down. He gave the war.
Yeah, one of the reasons battle's going to take place, and the Lord gave everything in a nutshell.
Principles were there.
Principles, some rules, things like that Arjuna can accept and understand at that moment, when he's in such a distress. For example, we know certain things because of reading Bhagavad Gita, right? But when we read the Bhagavatam, we know something more. So that's how it is. So that means there is more in the Bhagavatam.
I also heard like Bhagavatam is more of a personal pastime interaction with the devotee, whereas Bhagavad Gita is more of a giving instructions,
That is true.
following
Also.
principles.
That is true. Yeah.
So,
Ma-
so Lord,
Establishing
Yeah,
principles.
principles.
so Lord explained the 10th canto. What was the confidential knowledge that was given
Where?
about the Lord Himself when we read here?
Well, we'll come to that in the 11th canto. Not really. That it's the Chatusloki, the information that we touched on the second canto.
Yeah.
Second
Same
canto.
thing. Krishna
So same
said.
thing. It's he speaks on here also. That he spoke to Brahma. Now he's giving Uddhava more details of what it is. As we read, you will see. Yeah. Just continuing what Prabhupada says. The Brahma Samhita says that it is very difficult to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the Vedas, but he is easily understood from a pure devotee like Uddhava. So we also experience that, right? On our own, you read Brahma Samhita, you can't understand. But when someone teaches you, then you say, oh, makes sense. I mean, just like we are sitting here also, if you were to read the Bhagavatam, you may not really think about many things. You'll just read, just to finish. But when we sit here, we think about other things also connected to Krishna. So it enhances our understanding. Taking mercy on the great sages who lived at Badrikashram, the Lord authorized Uddhava to speak on his behalf. Unless one has such authorization, one cannot understand or preach the devotional service of the Lord. So one has to be empowered to preach also. Not simply we think we can do many. No, by the orders of the spiritual master, then we are able to do certain things. Not because we think, oh, I'm so good I can do. No, it doesn't work like that. Generally, it doesn't. Prabhupada continues, while present on this earth, the Lord executed many uncommon activities, even traveling in space to bring down the Parijata from heaven and recovering the son of his teacher, Sandipani Muni, from the regions of death. Uddhava was certainly informed of the conditions of life on other planets, and all the sages were anxious to know of them, just as we are anxious to know about the planets in space. Uddhava was particularly deputed to carry a message to Badrikashrama, not only to the sages of that place of pilgrimage, but also to the Nara Narayana deities. Such a message must have been more confidential than the knowledge described in the pages of Vedas. He specifically ordered him to do this. So continuing on, Prabhupada writes, that this knowledge is more confidential and could be sent or understood only through such a pure devotee as Uddhava. Such confidential knowledge was known only to the Lord and Uddhava. It is said that Uddhava was as good as the Lord himself. Every living entity can, like Uddhava, also become a confidential messenger on the same level as the Lord, provided he becomes confidential himself by dint of loving devotional service. So to even get that adhikar, we have to do devotional service properly first. Huh? We have to execute it properly, then we get empowered. Otherwise, we can't become good preachers, so to speak. You can't have double standards, basically. You have to practice what you want to preach.
I love to bring this point.
Mm.
So just talking things, but if
It's
you're
not-
not behaving
yeah.
properly, sincerely doing service,
Yeah.
practical also, so it becomes double standards.
We have to be flexible. Just like in the temple, sometimes they will say, "Oh, nobody to wash pots." Then you'll say, "Okay, I'll do it." So new people will see, "Oh, wow." Then they will see there's an example here, like that. I will do it, no problem, because it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to do these things. That is the difference. So continuing, Prabhupada writes, one cannot understand Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam without the help of such confidential devotees of the Lord. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that confidential message must have concerned the mystery of his departure and the annihilation of his dynasty after the end of his appearance in the mundane world for 100 years. Everyone must have been very anxious to know about the mystery of the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty, which is true. People ask always why they got killed, why they fighting. And that message must have been explained by the Lord to Uddhava and dispatched to Badrikashrama for the information of Nara, Narayana and other pure devotees of the Lord. When the Lord is leaving the planet, all his devotees from Dwaraka go back with him also, including the demigods also. And the demigods who were in Dwaraka, they go back to their planets. And then the Dwaraka-vasis go back to Dwaraka, like that. And all the expansions that is in him also go to the Vaikuntha planets accordingly. It's like Kshirodakasha Vishnu was approached by Brahma and he said, I'll come to kill Kamsa and all the other things. So he's inside, he's merged with Krishna. So when Krishna is leaving, at that time all these expansions go back to their abodes also. And the path from Nara Narayan Rishi also expansion is Arjuna and the Lord himself also came to the past time. They also will return unseen. So these are some of the information that are confidential. So it's revealed by Acharya. Otherwise we don't know. So, and those who want to see Krishna after he left have a chance to see him through Uddhava. Because Uddhava's appearance is very similar to Krishna also. So that's the other reason. And finally, Uddhava is never, in the previous verse we read, he's not affected by the three modes of the material nature. And Krishna also said he's not inferior to me. Whatever.
One question.
Yeah.
So the Lord dispatched Uddhava to go to Badrikashram for the information of Naranara and other pure devotees. So he wanted him to disclose this mystery, make it clear. So in the previous purport, it says that the Nara and Rishi are existing in the form of the deities there. So how do we understand? Are they deities or are they personally there where Uddhava could go and speak to them?
Yeah, they are there as personalities. Yeah. But for us, there are deities there. So they are there. They actually say there. Naranaya in Badrikashram, with Vyasudeva and all. They are meditating for our welfare, praying for us. And text 33. Vidropi Uddhavat Shrutva
Vidropi Uddhavat Shrutva
Krishnasya Paramatmanaha
Krishnasya Paramatmana
Kridayo dehasya
Dehovadehasya
karmani shlagitani cha.
karmani shlagitani cha.
Vidura also heard from Uddhava about the appearance and disappearance of Lord Krishna, the supersoul in the mortal world, which is a subject matter sought after with great perseverance by the great sages. So, how the Lord appears and disappears is very difficult to understand. That's why the Lord says, right? Janma karma chame deva. If you can understand my appearance and disappearance, you are free to go back home. So here you can see it is not an easy topic. But through great perseverance, we can also understand. Particularly through a guidance of a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. We are all working under Srila Prabhupada. So we will be blessed because of Srila Prabhupada, not otherwise. Okay? So we have to think like that. It's Prabhupada's mercy. We have to actually come to this proper understanding that it's Prabhupada and his disciple, my guru, like that. They are the ones who are, I am nobody. So the whole Bhagavatam that you're reading, what will you understand ultimately? That you are actually nobody and you are dependent on Krishna and his devotees. And that you are meant to serve them. That is what we are supposed to realize. But it takes such effort, no? Such effort.
Maybe one question, like even other sampradayas that are pure devotees like Sri Vaishnava.
Yeah.
So their Bhagavatam will be almost similar.
Bhagavatam is only one, no?
Yeah, Bhagavatam Sanskrit, but Vaishnava Acharyas like translations. So Prabhupada have done
Different.
different.
Their understanding is different because you have to understand ours is more in the line of all the way we accept Krishna, right? So our tattva, everything is related to how Krishna is connected to all of us. Whereas most of the other sampradayas, like for example you were saying Sri Sam, they only talk up to the level of Narayana, in Vaikuntha. So that we differ there. Yeah. So therefore, their level of understanding is different from our understanding.
So the purport will be little different.
Maybe.
But Bhagavatam will be same.
Bhagavatam is Bhagavatam,
Yeah.
no? Only Vedavyas, one
Yeah.
Vedavyas.
No, we heard in the temple once there was one Sri Vaishnava.
Yeah.
Krishna
Yeah. So he did entire Bhagavatam, but they don't go like the way Prabhupada is given to us.
Yeah,
that was not easily understandable from what he was speaking.
Exactly. They are more into the
The pastime.
terminologies and so on, and they don't go too much into.
No, he was just explaining the Leela. That's whatever I had attended.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, it was mostly like Leela part of it he was speaking, not.
Yeah, but what was he speaking about the Leela?
No, he was just giving this
Okay,
happened,
that's
this
Leelas.
happened, this happened.
Okay.
That's it. No, like.
Yeah, but
people
you see,
name.
we don't do that, right?
Yeah.
Everything we question, right?
But
Yeah.
Prabhupada goes very detailed on each one.
Yeah,
essence
because
that
Prabhupada wants us to
essence.
understand.
And then he referred to other acharyas.
He wants us to understand that this is not just a katha session.
Yeah, mostly other people.
There's a philosophy behind every action of the Lord.
Maybe he was doing it in the interest of time, but that sapta and all.
No, actually,
Point, that's it.
no, they actually don't have the ability to preach. Only Srila Prabhupada
And
could
that's why
preach.
that's the difference I also heard.
It's because of the philosophical understanding is different.
Prabhupada have what he
We follow Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You know, so Mahaprabhu is always out there in the Sankirtan. Prabhupada is empowered to preach. So if we follow Prabhupada, even you are a new bhakta, you will preach. Whereas in other sampradayas, they don't preach. But of course, they may be very learned. Don't think they don't know. They may be very learned, but they're not, from my observation, they're not able to preach. That's all. Because this is a special empowerment for Prabhupada. Mercy.
So from my understanding, what I feel is that because they are following that particular parampara, and Lord wants to understand, make them understand and appreciate in that line only, and Lord doesn't make them to look from other angle. because they wanted to follow that particular parampara. So,
Well, I can't comment on that.
because I have heard to that lectures,
Yeah.
the way he was telling, it was in fact a little deeper also. But then when it comes to the point, Krishna,
Yeah.
immediately they'll put Krishna under Narayana. No
Yeah,
way
but
that
that-
they can put Krishna above.
But the
because
point, that doesn't.
No, like even they don't. At least the whole like if Prabhupada saying is more, you're not the body or the soul.
Yeah, they
Prabhupada-
won't say like that.
Yeah.
That emphasis is there, not there so much.
Yeah.
They don't have other points.
because of
also
the time
they
of interest, they
Yeah,
couldn't
but
go.
Prabhu's saying that
They can't do it. That's all.
There are many delicate bodies.
They're more jnanis. You know, they're better. Their knowledge wise, as I said, they are qualified people. They know a lot more than all of us put together. They will know. But when it comes to giving it and sharing it with people to make them take up, very rare.
Yeah, that's really. I
You
also
can't do
observed.
And they know that also. They know that.
Yeah, you're right. Because they were speaking to Vedant Prabhu also sometime, like how the differences are there in preaching.
Yeah, anyway. But you know, our way of going back to Godhead is through
Prabhupada.
following Prabhupada's teaching, preaching. We are not qualified otherwise. Our only qualification is, that's it. Follow whatever Prabhupada told us. Prabhupada didn't tell us you have to become a big jnani on these things. No, he never said that. But he said, know my books. What does that mean? Know my books means what? So know how, whatever is written, understand that. And bottom line is, you know how to give this essence to other people. That you're not the body, you're eternal soul. These two things are very hard for people to understand. What to talk about the rasas and so on. What to talk about these confidential things that Uddhava knows. We can't even touch the surface. Right? We can't even know we are not the body. Every day we wake up thinking we are the body.
Yes, I heard one first time like again Prabhupada on Radhashtami. Prabhupada gave a lecture. Prabhupada gave a lecture on Radhashtami,
okay.
and then everybody thought that Prabhupada is going to reveal all the confidential parts, and Prabhupada did not speak anything.
Anything
about
on
it. He said,
Radha.
"You are not this body. You are not this body." Lecture over.
Yeah, you see all the appearance there usually it's just a little bit. So Ram came to kill Kamsa like that, and then he will talk about how we are not the body, how we have to do service, devotion, because that is the essence,
I was hearing one lecture like
right? The Chatusloki also. What is the first verse? That Krishna is the source of everything. He is everything, right? So then we have to know that. That's how we should know. Oh, Krishna is everything. I'm nobody, but I'm his servant. I have a relationship with him. In material nature, everything is subordinate to Krishna, like that. And that Chatusloki is again expanded by Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, right? Because he, like Maharaj was saying, the Dasamulla Tattva, right? It's the same thing, no? If you,
very simple.
yeah, simply Bhaktivinoda Thakur made it very simple. And so if you know it nicely, then we actually know many things.
No, but we don't. That realization is not there.
Yeah, we don't have the real, but
But
the
I've
knowledge
gotten
and everything,
some-
actually if you ask many devotees, they know many things, but it's not properly structured or understood properly. Yeah. Because we don't apply it. That's
the
all.
realization is not there.
Yeah, we don't have realization, you're right. But realization will come when you,
Practice.
by preaching and talking to people and trying to get them, then you realize, I don't know this really well, so you focus on that. Oh, I'm not so humble. All these things will come out, then it becomes more meaningful. Right? It's only when you preach you learn where you stand. Isn't it? So that is a good thing, you see. That's why we preach. When we go and tell people about Krishna, we know we don't know so many things about Krishna. Isn't it? So that's why it's good. It's good to know that you are nobody.
I was just wanted to share, like we talk about Sri Vaishnava. So Prabhupada was invited to one Bombay mandal where it was a Hanuman Mandir. Hanuman Mandir, and everybody was doing like it's a mandir for exercising, bodily exercising, and they had a Hanuman. Prabhupada started with Hanuman, how he's servant of Ram and those things, and suddenly he jumped on that service attitude, servant and the master. And then whole thing he bought the whole philosophy, got into that you use your body, mind, and soul.
Yeah, because of
service. But he didn't touch any other thing.
yeah,
like
but the
this
whole
and
point is he understood the whole thing. He like you were saying, he has the experience,
he's preaching about-
realization that this is Dasya Ras, so they
Yeah.
can accept Hanuman's Dasya. So he preached like that. So that's what it is. When you want to become expert, you have to do like that. Anyway, let's continue. Otherwise, we'll be always going on about this thing. Text 34. Dehanyasam cha tasyaivam Dhiranam Dhairyavardhanam Anyesham Duskarataram Pashunam Viklavatmanam. The Lord's glorious acts and His acceptance of various transcendental forms for the performance of extraordinary pastimes in the mortal world are very difficult for anyone other than his devotees to understand. And for the beasts, they are simply a mental disturbance. He calls all the demons or anyone atheistic beasts. So, which is a factor again, right? We see so many times people cannot understand how the Lord can take different avatars. Very difficult. Unless you have the basic foundation of our philosophy, how the Lord can expand, how He can take birth, that He has a Satchidananda body, we cannot accept this. No possible, right? Not possible. You have experience when people will ask you the same question, and you are trying to explain and still they cannot understand, right?
You keep asking for years.
And they will keep asking for years, some of them.
But in different languages, frame it different
Yeah.
ways.
And sometimes you see the same devotee will ask different sannyasi the same question. Yeah. It's a fact. We have seen that. Why? Because they are not doing service, or they are not surrendered. They're not surrendered, not wanting, or they are offensive. So all these are blockage that you cannot. Basically, if you're not a devotee in your heart, it's not possible to understand. If you come to the temple but you're envious of Krishna and you sit and listen looking for fault, how can you understand Krishna, right? It's not possible. In your heart already you think, oh, he murdered all the people, he's the one who actually caused the Kurukshetra war, and then you're sitting there waiting. You will never understand. All in your mind is, he is the troublemaker. Which is common with many people you meet who know something about Mahabharata. They blame Krishna.
there are some organizations also.
Yeah, they blame Krishna. And then in the Vaikuntha Pasana, they blame Narada. Right? Like with Kamsa, they blame Narada. You say Kamsa also, okay, he's the one who made him kill the babies and so.
Because that's how the television industry or the movie industry
Television,
portrayed Narada.
So it is like that, Unless you take up the process sincerely, then we get the ability slowly to accept Krishna's position. Otherwise, we are not able to know who Krishna is. We are covered by his Yogamaya potency. Yeah. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, he picks these two groups of personalities. The Lord never reveals himself to persons like the Jnanis, that means mentally speculating, and yogis only looking for mystic perfection. And there are others who, because of their envying the Lord from the bottom of their hearts, are classified amongst the beasts. And for such envious beasts, the subject matter of the Lord's appearance and disappearance is simply a mental disturbance. Yeah, they get very disturbed. Huh?
Get upset.
They get very upset. How he can do this? Who is he? I don't believe. I don't accept. So you can see the statements Prabhupada provides is factual. He has, like you said, no, really, he has experience. He has actually realizations that are so potent that then when we read, oh yeah,
He's covered everything.
yeah. Sometimes you read Prabhupada and say, yeah, I didn't think like that, but it's a fact.
Rather when we're sharing, then the kind of questions that come up, and then you feel that Prabhupada has already covered all
Yes,
these questions and all his
yes,
purpose.
Even Bhagavad Gita, we read just even one paragraph, two paragraphs, all the essence we can see connected.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you go back and read again in a few years, you'll realize another thing, more and deeper. So this is Prabhupada's mercy. For a neophyte, he can read only that much, he is qualified. Prabhupada reveals that much. But as he makes advancement, Prabhupada reveals more and more confidential information.
We are experiencing that when we read Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the mercy of the Guru Parampara. Huh? So we have, and we are trying to figure out the confidential, what did Krishna tell Uddhava, right? We want to know. But it's already there. But the only thing is we are not qualified to see it yet. Even if Prabhupada writes it out, we still won't understand. Just like the Brahma Samhita,
Yeah.
right? Lord Brahma is explaining how the whole universe is. We don't understand still. Even now, after you hear also, we still don't know how the Mahatattva and the Karna ocean is. It's just that's our disqualifications. But we shouldn't worry about that too much. We should only worry about how to perform devotion service. Yeah, that is our qualification. How we can please Guru and devotees, that's it. Instead of, let's say, we disagree among devotees and fight, that won't qualify us. Rather, we try to find a common ground among all the devotees. Say, okay, you need this, I'll help you this way. So then we get qualified because of that. Our ability to work together for Krishna's pleasure. Right? When Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur left, he said to his disciples, don't fight, cooperate. Prabhupada left, what he said? Cooperate. So that's why we have to work together to understand what we are meant for. Not to see Krishna. We're supposed to work so that other people have an opportunity to do devotional service also. You understand? People get the opportunity. That's how much we have to behave so that they get attracted.
Behave so that Krishna wants to see.
Yeah. There will be a group of people who like the way the information in the Bhagavatam, they get attracted. But most people cannot. Most people cannot. They don't have that taste like that yet. So for them, how we behave, sadachar, is more important. Yeah, so we have to do like otherwise we can't even help the beast. Prabhupada talks here, the beast. The beast of burden. Muddha, right? Naradama, all those. Muddha, then Naradama, Maya Paritagyan, and Asuram Bhavam Ashrita, one who takes shelter of the demoniac. And they don't surrender to Krishna. So still we try to help them. We give them prasadam. Because they are not accepting Krishna, but they can accept Krishna through prasadam. Prasadam will purify their consciousness. It may take many, many years, sometimes lifetimes, but it will work. Once you take prasadam, it will work. It may take some time, but it will work. Anyway, if we don't have them, then Krishna says, right, I will cast them perpetually in the lower form, in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So therefore we have to see, can I help this person? I'll do my best. Otherwise just don't bother. Otherwise demons can get very angry. They can take gun and shoot you also. So extremes. Text 35. Atmanam cha kuru shrestha
Atmanam cha kuru shrestha
Krishnena manashiksitam
Krishnena manashikshitam
Dhyayan gate bhagavate
Jnayagate bhagavate
Ruroda prema vivala.
Ruroda prema vivala.
Understanding that he was remembered by Lord Krishna while quitting this world, Vidura began to cry loudly, overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love. So, it's a poem is amazed. He was just amazed that even Krishna thought about him. Prabhupada writes, Vidura was overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love when he understood that Lord Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead, thought of him at the last moment. Although he thought of himself as insignificant, see, this is the qualification that we have to develop. He was remembered by the Lord by his causeless mercy. So the Lord's mercy is causeless. You cannot demand the mercy. So, but if you become a servant and become an insignificant servant, but just the mood of service, you will be remembered by the Lord.
Attracts Krishna.
That attracts Krishna because that's bhakti.
Krishna.
And bhakti is the
Only
whose control? Radharani. Yeah. So then it's very attractive to Krishna. Vidura accepted this as a great favor and thus he cried. So that realization, I am nobody, and the Lord thought about me, he couldn't handle it. He just cried. This crying is the last word in the progressive path of devotional service. So when you are doing service for Krishna and when you come to the point understanding I'm nobody but I have this opportunity to do this service and you start crying, then you are making good progress. You will feel that way. It's not like you won't. Yeah, you will feel that way. Huh? But the degree of how much you feel that kind of crying. Sometimes you feel really intensely, you cry, and the next day you forget. No, because we are in that situation. We are very fallen. Yeah, we are very fallen. Not just Tatastha, we are very fallen. Not Tatastha.
No, I meant Tatastha is one time we are going.
Yeah, but we are very fallen also. But sometimes we are sincerely doing and we experience that emotion and we cry, oh, I'm so fallen. But the very next day you forget because we can't sustain.
Next day I'm the best.
Yeah. Yeah, we shouldn't think we are the best. Actually, we are not. You can see how best you are. So Prabhupada finishes saying, one who can cry for the Lord is in love is certainly successful in the line of devotional service. So it's a very powerful statement. But you can't artificially, like an actor or actress, cry. You cannot do that. I mean, to show people, there are many people I've seen who come to the temple and cry. They are not initiated or anything, but they will cry.
They're crying over their misery.
No, they will they will come on Sunday feast or what, and then they cry. They have no misery. They just like, Krishna, and then they'll cry. I have seen a few people like that. But that's not, for us, we don't sit in front of the Lord to cry. Our mood is, go and help, do some service like that. Because if you have 1 hour, is this person I've seen cry in front of the Lord. And then after that, all finished, go all normally. What kind of pure devotion is that? No, it's all fake. We don't want that. Our crying should be, oh, I can't help this person become Krishna conscious. It should be like, we should feel despondent by not able to help another person be Krishna conscious. That's how we should feel. Text 36, so we are finishing up. Kalindya Katibi Siddha
Kalindya Katibi Siddhya
Ahobi Bharata Rishabha
Ahobi Bharata
Prapadyata Swasaritam
Prapadyata Swasastam
Yatra Mitra Suto Muni.
Yatra Mitra Sutoni.
After passing a few days on the bank of the river Yamuna, Vidura, the self-realized soul, reached the bank of the Ganges where the great sage Maitreya was situated. So after Uddhava left, he stayed in the near the river Yamuna, trying to control himself, And then when he felt assured, and then he went looking for Maitreya Rishi.
So Vidura is thinking that the Lord was remembering him. Did I miss it? Like, is it there in the shloka?
It's not directly given the slokas, right? About Lord's remembrance.
No, Uddhava told him that, but it's not in the, like they are talking like no, but it is said like that. Yeah. Because this is said to us by Sukadeva Goswami. He's revealing that this, I mean, the whole day they spend the night talking so many things, so
Some things.
which wasn't covered, right? Wasn't revealed to us. Yeah. So yeah. So it's just see how devotees when they meet, they are not talking about any frivolous topic. We are so good at that.
Samsung phone.
Yeah, right. We spend hours talking about our phone, our laptops, stuff like that. It is. We can see. The more you realize where you are at, the better for you. I'm telling you now. Then you won't be proud, and then at least when you do service, you are thinking, Krishna, I hope I pleased you during this service. Yeah, you can cultivate that mood. But if you think you're always good, no way. Because we are like that. We are not like them. Our goal is to at least come and serve them. We can't come to their level, but at least serve them. Or serve someone who can serve them. Srila Prabhupada and his devotees. It's actually not hard when we have everything in the right perspective. It becomes difficult when we always put ourselves in the center. We wake up, we only think of ourselves. We don't think, how is Nila Madhava, who have they, dressed them nicely today? Did they cook nicely? Oh, today they didn't give him breakfast. I guess that's okay. You know what I'm saying? That means we haven't developed that seriousness. Anyway, that's in the Bhakti in the purports of the 4th chapter, 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Vidura Approaches Maitreya. Chapter 5, Vidura talks with Maitreya. Next one. Shri Shuka Vacha Dvari Dunadya Rishabha Kurunam Maitreya Masina Magada Bodham Shatto Pasrityachyuta Bhavasiddha Papracha Saushilya Guna Vitripta. Gentle. Sukadeva Goswami said, Vidura, the best amongst the Kuru dynasty, who was perfect in devotional service to the Lord, thus reached the source of the celestial Ganges river. So he actually walked a lot from Yamuna to the source of the Ganges river. He walked all the way to Haridwar, where Maitreya, the great fathomless learned sage of the world, was seated. Vidura, who was perfect in gentleness and satisfied in transcendence, inquired from him. So, from this sentence you know that Vidura was already a pure devotee. He's a very elevated person. The reason he's going to Maitreya is to association and to find out what spoke to Uddhava and him. So he wants to know that.
Eager to know more about.
Yeah, eager to know more about Krishna. That's the main thing. So, the Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada writes, Vidura had already surpassed the fallible nature of the living entity in conditional life due to his being Achyuta Bhava, or legitimately absorbed in the devotional service of the Lord. He's a pure devotee, so he's no more a fallible living entity. He's infallible. This stage of life is called Achyuta Bhava Siddha, perfected, or perfection by dint of devotional service. Anyone, therefore, who is absorbed in the devotional service of the Lord is a liberated soul and has all admirable qualities. So there's a verse, right? All the good qualities the demigods get manifested in the devotee. Or the pure devotee has 26 transcendental qualities.
Throughout Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is repeatedly telling about the
Qualities of, yes, in the Bhagavad Gita also. Sthita Pragya, and so many times he asks.
12 chapters is pre-OC.
Yeah. 12th chapter, yes. Even 13th chapter, the
8 to
beginning, 8 to 12, yes. So when he went there, he saw Maitreya Rishi sitting all alone on the bank of the Ganges. Text 2. Vidura Uvacha Sukaya Karmani Karoti Loko
Sukaya karmani karoti loko.
Natai Sukam Vanyaduparamamba
Natai sukamanya paramah.
Vindeta Bhuyastata Eva Dukam
Videta bhuyastata dukkham.
Yadatra Yuktam Bhagavan Vadena.
Yadatra yuktam bhagavan vadena.
Vidura said, O great sage, everyone in this world engages in fruitive activities to attain happiness, but one finds neither satiation in satisfaction nor the mitigation of distress. On the contrary, one is only aggravated by such activities. Please, therefore, give us directions on how one should live for real happiness. So, first question, instead of asking him about what he really wants to know, he somehow feels, I guess, shy or something. He's asking about a thing that he already knows. Huh? Yeah, you can say humility, shy, or he's been guided by the Lord to ask this question for our benefit. We do not know, but but it appears like that. Vidura asked Maitreya some common questions, Prabhupada says, which was not originally his intention. Uddhava asked Vidura to approach Maitreya Muni and inquire into all the truths concerning the Lord, his name, fame, quality, form, pastimes, entourage, etc. And thus, when Vidura approached Maitreya, he should have asked only about the Lord. But out of natural humility, he did not immediately ask about the Lord, but inquired into a subject which would be of great importance to the common man. A common man cannot understand the Lord. He must first know the real position of his life under the influence of the illusory energy. Same thing. So Prabhupada wants to make us understand, it's very important. We should also appreciate what Prabhupada wants us to know. You're not the body, you're servant. So it's always there. Huh?
I think this is the mood of every self-realized soul, is to give this knowledge, the basic knowledge of you are not the body.
It depends on the time, place, and circumstances. Different acharya emphasize something different. But you can see very clearly, for at least in this age, I think a lot of people don't understand we are not the body. And it's not easy to understand that because of the illusory potency of the Lord. Only way is through devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee or devotees. Then you realize that I am nobody. The moment you realize you're nobody but just a servant, then you are constitutionally in the right position, that you are acting from the platform of the spirit soul. That is the only thing you can understand. It's not that one day you wake up and you see you and the body is different. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It cannot happen. But you will realize, okay, I'm in the body. That you can realize.
As you were telling yesterday that by doing, not yesterday, but day before, by doing devotional service, automatically the detachment.
Yeah, we remember Vasudeva Bhagavati. Detachment and knowledge will arise. Yeah, it will come. It's a fact. The more you spend time with devotees, the less you're interested in your material things. It's a normal, it's a spontaneous thing because you're spirit by nature. So you give up on matter. Text 3. Janasya Krishna Vimukhasya Daiva
Janasya Krishna Vimukasya Deva
Adharmashilasya Sudukkitasya
Adharmashilasya Sudurvikasya
Anugrahayeha Charanti Nunam
Anurayena Chalati Nunam
Bhutani Bhavyani Janadanasya.
Bhutani Bhavyani Janadhanasya.
O my Lord, great philanthropic souls travel on the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord. So these are important points because he is actually describing us, how fallen we are, and he's describing people like Srila Prabhupada, how compassionate they are. Or people like them who travel on behalf of the Lord. We should see what they are trying to accomplish rather than what they are. That's the problem is we always see their faults, but we see what they are trying to do. In the purport, in the middle of the purport, I want to highlight this. All fruitive activity, empirical philosophy, and mysticism are more or less against the sense of subordination to the Lord. It's a fact, right? Whatever you do, you work hard. Most people do it because they are doing it for their own sense enjoyment. Even whatever philosophy, it is for their own mental speculation, enjoyment. Even mysticism, it's for one's personal profits. Oh, I can control this, I can use this power like that.
They all try to attain this by their own endeavor.
It is for their own. It's a selfish endeavor, actually. So therefore, it's against the sense of subordination to the Lord. Now, don't want to surrender because I am happy doing this thing. And any living entity engaged in such rebellious activity is more or less condemned by the laws of material nature. Which means you get entangled in karmic situation. And therefore, through the Vedas, we do some of these activities so that we don't get entangled so much by the laws of material, which work under the subordination of the Lord. Devi Esha Gunamaya Mamamaya Durutyaya. We can't overcome it, but it's his energy still. Great unalloyed devotees of the Lord are compassionate toward the fallen. So when they become pure devotees, they have this quality, compassion towards the fallen. So you can see yourself also, it's a good practice actually, every time you preach. How compassionate are you to the person you're preaching? Right? You can ask yourself, am I trying to enjoy this person, meaning you want to control and show them how good you are, or are you being compassionate that you want that person to become a devotee of Krishna? So think, because this will help you make your advancement in Krishna consciousness. And because they are compassionate, therefore they travel all over the world with the mission of bringing souls back to Godhead, back to home. So it's very important for ourselves. Whenever we preach, we teach, same. We are not here to make fan followers. Huh? Nadanam na janam na sundari. Kavitam vadagirisha kamahi. No, we don't want that. And that's important actually. It's okay. Text 4. Tatsadu varya dishavatmashamnaha samradito bhagavan yena pumsam Ridistito yacchati bhakti bhute Jnanam satadvadigamam puranam. Therefore, O great sage, please give me instruction on the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, so that He who is situated in the heart of everyone can be pleased to impart from within knowledge of the absolute truth in terms of the ancient Vedic principles delivered only to those who are purified by the process of devotional service. Huh?
He said if you are purified by devotional service, then the deeper truths will be.
Yeah, that's right.
He personally served Krishna for so many years. Still, he has that humility to.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point. He was with Krishna
For so many years.
so many years, right?
Most confident in the work of Krishna.
One of the
Buddha?
Vidra.
Vidra also had the opportunity.
That's why he is given the job of Yamaraj.
Anyway, in the purport, let's continue. Papa writes in like the third or fourth line from the top, first paragraph. Only in such a purified stage does the Lord, who is seated in everyone's heart with the individual soul, give instruction so that the devotee can reach the ultimate destination of going back home, back to Godhead. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Teisham Satata Yuktanam Vajatam Priti Puru. Tadami Buddhi Yoga Yenama Mumpayam. Only when the Lord is satisfied with the devotional service of the devotee does He impart knowledge as He did for Arjuna and Uddhava. So yeah, we can attract Krishna, but we must make sure that the Lord is pleased with us. And the best way to please the Lord is serving the devotees and not be attached to them. New devotee come, you pay, and then, oh, you only stay with me. Then the Lord will say, what are you doing? I don't belong to you. Right?
Get you welcome table.
Yeah. Then
No one
you
will-
come here, you don't. Why? Devotees have this silly way of. You should be happy. Whoever is preaching should be, wow, that's wonderful. Someone is getting the opportunity. Not only I can do, no one can. That the mentality will be transferred to the other guy's person. Person will think, oh, I am supposed to do like that when I become devotee. So no, we can't do like that. In the next paragraph, Prabhupada rejects the Jnanis, Yogis and Karmis immediately because they can't get the same relationship with the Lord. So then he says, the bhakti process as performed under the regulated principles of Vaidhi Bhakti or devotional service, following the prescribed rules and regulations, is defined by the revealed scriptures and confirmed by great acharyas. That means there's a methodology to begin bhakti. And this is approved by great acharyas as well as the scriptures. This practice can help the neophyte devotee to rise to the stage of Raga Bhakti, in which the Lord responds from within as the Chaitya Guru or the spiritual master as super consciousness. You can only come to Raga Bhakti. First, you must clear all your anartha. So, anartha nivritti stage, you must come to that. And then you can actually perform Raga Bhakti, Raga Nuga Bhakti. Yes.
But for that bhajan kriyas to happen properly.
For that to happen, your bhajana kriya, your preaching, offenses, all should be properly taken care. So it is all there. The whole system is there. You know, we are the one who make mistake or miscalculate. So Vidura is asking this question on behalf of all of us who are neophyte. How to please the Lord? He's asking the question. Text 5. Karoti karmani kritavataro
Karoti karmani tavataro
Yani atmatantro bhagavan triyadesha
Yani atmatantro bhagavan
Yata sasarjagra idam niriha Samstapya vrittim jagato vidatte. O great sage, kindly narrate how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the independent, desireless Lord of the three worlds and the controller of all energies, accepts incarnations and creates the cosmic manifestation with perfectly arranged regulative principles for its maintenance. So here he wants to know about how the Purusha Avatar, how the creation takes place. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the Lord himself is independent and desireless, as Vidura points out. He does not create the material world for his own satisfaction. Again, you see, Prabhupada is giving us an understanding about creation. Does not create the material world for his own satisfaction as we create our household affairs to fulfill our material desires. Actually, the material world is created for the illusory enjoyment of the conditioned souls. So whatever enjoyment we do where Krishna is not involved, it's an illusory enjoyment, temporary. These conditioned souls who have been against the transcendental service of the Lord since time immemorial, we can be very proud of it. You've got a record. Huh?
You want to be proud, be proud of it.
Yeah, be proud of this, right? You want to
You're
make.
senior in this.
Yeah, we are very advanced in this.
Madhyam.
From time we were existing, from the time I existed, we are very expert. So that is what we can be proud of.
Purana Purusha in this material.
But the material universes are full in themselves.
Your senior kids.
Yeah, let's see how senior. There is no scarcity for maintenance in the material world. That means, what it means, the material universe is perfectly created. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Perfect. Because of their poor fund of knowledge, the materialists are disturbed when there is an apparent increase of the population on the earth. So Prabhupada then writes a couple of sentences. It is only human society that is disturbed about the food situation. And to cover up the real fact of administrative mismanagement, take shelter in the plea that the population is excessively increasing. If there's any scarcity in the world, it is the scarcity of God consciousness. Otherwise, by the grace of the Lord, there's no scarcity of anything. This is what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur told Prabhupada, right? It's amazing.
So
Is this when Prabhupada asked about we need freedom?
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
freedom. The same thing. We need to get independence from the British.
My husband was watching a video of
Mm.
one of his classmates became some big guru in art of living.
Mm.
So then I don't know why he got that video on YouTube. So he was just seeing what is that classmate of his was doing. So then it was on Google Hangout chat. And then they asked him, what do you think the youth should do? Considering the current situation. So he says, yeah, you should get more involved and fix the whole system. So then we were thinking about what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said to Prabhupada. This is our word, bring people to
Yeah.
good consciousness.
Yeah, there's so many problems in the world. This world is full of problems, meant to be problematic. So you can't really fix all the
Yeah,
problems.
but it's a stark difference of what.
Yeah, because they have lack of knowledge, no? People don't know. When you don't have Atma Tattva, then what Tattva do you have? Oh, I have to fix whatever problem I see, then I'm a good person. Huh? Yeah, Jada Tattva. So that's the conclusion you'll come to. Oh, if I help everyone, then I'm a good person. But then what they fail to realize is it's temporary. After that, you die and you come back again. But you're not really solving.
There was a
And then those who are attached to material nature, they become more and more materialistic.
Jada.
Right?
Jada tattva.
Correct or not? One who goes after material enjoyment, the more and more he does, the more and more he'll go down. Puna punascharvita charvananam. Not possible otherwise. So this is how what these people are doing. Oh, you get involved and fix it. How you fix it when the real solution is never administered? Right?
question was one asked to Prabhupada, like, due to population, the food security is there. Like, there's not enough food. Population is too much. Those things. So Prabhupada said same thing. It's no security of population problem or food.
Yeah.
It's like problem of God.
It's all misuse generally. There's enough food around the world. It's all misuse or selfish reasons to raise the price. That's how they mess around. Text 6.
First, you want to have question on here in translation said desireless Lord of 3 words. So in the context of desireless Lord means not desiring for a material creation for his own satisfaction. It's for Jiva.
Well, the Lord is self-satisfied.
So that desireless,
Yeah,
because we are also part and parcel of the Lord, but we do have a desire.
yeah, but our desire is misplaced.
Which,
We're supposed to desire for the Lord's pleasure.
like, satisfaction of the Lord.
Yeah.
So in that context, desireless.
Desireless means he doesn't have desires like us.
Us. But
It's like a king creating a prison house. He doesn't have a desire to go into the prison house or enjoy it. He's creating for the miscreant's sake.
He doesn't have desires like us, material desires like us. Yeah, you can say Nirguna. I don't want to use that.
yeah, but always we say in prayers also like to purify our desire, like Prabhupada was saying, we have to purify our consciousness and desire. So means coming to the original desire to satisfy the Lord.
See, generally we say desire means we compare with the material things, right?
Yeah.
And then we think we are dependent on our family, on this and that. So the Lord is independent in any situation,
So
and He's
satisfy.
desireless. He's completely renounced, so therefore He's also desireless. Even the gopis, He's not. He go out of their rasadans when He wanted. Remember?
Yeah.
So He's desireless in that sense, completely renounced. And materially, He doesn't need anything. His desire is to have loving relationship.
And fallen souls come to
That's his desire, to have
That's
come back.
compassion.
loving relationship. Let's go to text 6. Yata punasveka idam niveshya
Yata punasvetam
sete guhayam sanivritta vritti
Sete guhayam sanivrittavritti
Yogeshwaradishwara ekayeta
Yogeshwaradishwara ekayeta
Anupravishto bahuda yatase.
Anupravishto bahudayatase.
He lies down on his own heart, spread in the form of the sky, And thus placing the whole creation in that space, he expands himself into many living entities which are manifested as different species of life. He does not have to endeavor for its maintenance because he is the master of all mystic powers and the proprietor of everything. Thus he is distinct from the living entities. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes in the middle of the purport, the gigantic sky is the material body of the Lord, called the Virat Rupa, and all material creations are resting on the sky or the heart of the Lord. Therefore, beginning from the sky, the first material manifestation, to the gross vision, down to the earth, everything is called Brahman. Sarvam Kalo Idam Brahma. There is nothing but the Lord, and He is one without a second. The living entities are the superior energies, whereas matter is the inferior energy. And the combination of these energies brings about the manifestation of this material world, which is in the heart of the Lord. It is a big mystic history, the way the whole creation takes place. It's amazing. That is his amazing mystic potency, the way he does. Pradhan, Mahatattva, and then from there, the universes, then the jivas put inside, plugged in, and then they all functioning, self-contained, each universe.
You are floating over the planets.
So it's just amazing.
Prabhupada is just a line which is in his heart, that's like Ramadevi, right? She is the one.
Lies down in the heart, in his own heart.
Sky. That's the sky. It's talking about the sky. Prabhupada, remember the gigantic sky is the material body of the Lord called the Virat Rupa, and all material creations are resting on the sky or the heart of the Lord. So it's a Virat Rupa. So within that region of that Virat Rupa heart is where all this creation taking place. It's anyway, in this situation, that is this Virat Rupa. Whereas there's a Virat Rupa within the universe. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yes. It's everything is like a copy of a copy.
thinking. Object away.
So it's just mind-boggling.
Class.
Define it class and then to create the object.
Yeah. Sounds like IBM. Alright, I think we'll stop here. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, we'll continue.
The test is in the morning.
Huh?
What time it is?
In the morning. First thing we can do.
Half hour right, test.
45 minutes. Right?
Last time for that, you gave 1 hour.